Okay, class. Well, welcome to social studies. Hope you all had a good weekend. I'm just gonna take a nap in my chair. Wake me if there's an emergency.
I hate social studies. We sit here all day. Yeah, I wish we could learn something.
Me too. I would just love it if we could learn about world history up into the 16th century.
Yeah, right, like that would ever happen.
Hey, we don't have to stand for this anymore. Let's learn something. Oh, please, Mr. Teacher, can you please teach us something from the GLEs? Please, Mr. Teacher, run me and my body. Can you please teach us something about history? Please, Mr. Teacher, can you please teach us something from the GLEs? Please, Mr. Teacher, run me and my body. Can you please teach us something about history?
Well, okay, if you insist, I will teach you from this list. But I'd rather drink my coffee and make you take a pop quiz. We'll start from the beginning, way back in the day. Couple 100,000 years ago, we started out this way. We were all living in Africa in small nomadic bands. We were hunting, we were gathering, but then we did expand. So humans lived in the Middle East and then covered Asia too. We found Oceania and Europe followed suit. But some groups were probably following animals and crossed the Bering Strait and stumbled into the Americas. We'll catch up with them later, cause half the world away, some big stuff was happening. Some folks gave up the nomad life and they started farming. We got the Tigris, Euphrates, Mesopotamia, in the Fertile Crescent. So as I mentioned, agriculture was changing humans' lives. They couldn't move from place to place, they had to stay by their farm side. So thus began the first civilizations that we know. And as they grew a surplus, that changed stuff even more. See, now we're seeing rulers, and now we've got a lower class, and now we're seeing Sumerian ziggurats, wheels, plows, and canals. The Sumerians also made one of the biggest inventions yet. Cuneiform was the first writing system. It helped merchants keep track. Along came Sargon the Conqueror. You can figure out what he did. And then Hammurabi made the Code of Hammurabi, which kept track of the laws he set. And the Assyrians rode in chariots and killed people in their way. And the Phoenicians made the alphabet, which we still kind of use today. Now you may be asking yourself,
South and Mesopotamia. Why didn't the folks in Africa or Europe domesticate cows and such?
well, that is a pretty good question, but it's got a simple answer, see? The domesticatable animals were mostly in Asia and the Middle East. We've just begun, cause not too far away, Egypt was creating a kingdom on the Nile River.
Yay!
Then developed some great technology to help them farm the land, which was pretty important cause they were surrounded by sand. And the pharaohs felt the need to build some pyramids. We know a bunch about it cause of hieroglyphics. And to the south was Nubia, but we don't know a lot about them. We can't read their writing, plus historians tended to want to doubt them. So let's take a trip to Asia to see what was happening there. In the Indus River Valley was the Harappan Empire. Mohenjo-Daro is a famous city. We know about their everyday life, from their toys to their toilets, but it may all ended in strife. There are a lot of different theories, like being conquered by the Aryans, or getting flooded, or getting salty land, or getting blown up by aliens. And around this very time, a few religions were spreading out. Hinduism, Buddhism, Judaism were making lots of people devout. So further east was China, which was surrounded on all sides by geographic bones, which kept them in and kept out the outsiders. Along came Confucius, a philosophizing dude, but the Qin dynasty didn't like him and they burned his book.
How rude!
But then the Han dynasty came around and brought back Confucianism, but their biggest thing was the Silk Route, which I'll tell you about in a minute. Spread the goods from China to the Mediterranean Sea. But silk was not the only thing that passed with Trade. Gold and spices, coffee beans, and stories of far-off places, and religions and traditions, and even bad diseases. Now my story is only halfway done, I gotta speed it up. My throat is getting tired, I think I need another cup. So where were we? Ah yes, I think it's Greece. They looked a lot like a big old shrimp in the Mediterranean Sea. Greece didn't have the resources that other places did, so they traded with their neighbors. In the end, this wasn't bad, cause Greece became a legend in their very own way. They got technology and trade networks and grew more day by day. The country was divided up into city-states, like Sparta, the warlike one, and Athens, which was great. Athens is perhaps known as the birthplace of democracy. That might be a little far-fetched, but don't ask questions, trust in me. But to the east, another storm was brewing. The Persians, they were working west, and Greece was about to be ruined. But the story gets exciting because Greece actually won, and they entered the golden age of art, science, and fun. And the story gets depressing, cause like all good things it ends, cause the Peloponnesian War pits Sparta versus Athens. But Greece's culture stayed alive because of a certain man, Alexander the Great, who conquered much and died again. Who were suckling on a wolf. Legend has it were the first Romans, Remus and Romulus. Rome was inspired by Greek democracy, but used representatives and added UBLIC. The patricians and plebeians were doing their thing, until some guy named Caesar came and entered the ring. He declared that he would rule for life, that he was a dictator, and so some senators decided that his life should be quite short. But all the drama wasn't done. In fact, it was just getting started when Augustus beat Mark Antony and Cleopatra parted, and on to Pax Romana, which means Roman peace. The empire was growing and roads connected west to east. So along the way came Jesus, who they promptly put to death. But Christianity kept on spreading nevertheless. Then Constantine came along and made it official. But he still had time to kill, so he killed his wife and his son named Crispus. But Rome, sweet Rome, didn't last, sweet last. Visigoths, Ostrogoths, Berbers, Huns, Sloths, Arabs, Vandals, Cincinnati Bengals, Picts and Persians, Celts and Saxons, these are the groups that all did attack. When feudalism reigned, when the serfs worked for the nobles who worked for the king, and the serfs needed the nobles who needed the king. The Middle Ages had their problems, that is for sure. Women had few rights, bubonic plague had no cure. And to add to the mess, the Catholic Church wanted Jerusalem from Muhammad's Muslim followers who practice Islam, who took it from the Byzantines, who took it from the Persians, who took it from the Romans and the Maccabees and Syrians, and Egyptians and Macedonians and Persians again, and Babylonians and Syrians and King Solomon. And before that it was the Canaanites, before that it was the same, and there were groups of nomads, they have no trace of their names. So the Crusades weren't that effective, except for making ill will, except it brought a new connection between the West and the Middle. So the ideas kept a-coming, and so did the trade from the African, Asian, and Hellenic ways. And thus the Renaissance began, rebirth of ideas with Da Vinci, Galileo, and that guy with two beards. The church wasn't done, however, not even close. They were selling indulgences to those who paid the most. So along comes Martin Luther, no not him, yes him, who helped the church to change the ways, the Reformation. But halfway around the world in the Americas, there were some cities growing into empires. The Olmecs and the Mayas are two ancient lands. They had sports and heads and pictographs and astronomy, man. And after that, the Aztecs ruled over Mexico with chinampas and aqueducts so drinking water would flow. In the land of the Incas, way up high in the Andes, they made up terrace farming.
That was totally down.
To be a downer, but you know what happened next. Columbus tried to sail to Asia, but he really should have texted, cause along the way he landed in the Caribbean Sea. Columbus got to be a hero and the natives got disease. But he was not the only one who sailed the ocean blue. Years before the Vikings scored, but they packed up and left real soon. A guy from Spain with an awesome name, Magellan, took a boat and he sailed away. He tried to circumnavigate, but he got killed along the way. But some explorers wanted more, like Pizarro and Cortez. They were conquistadors, they wanted gold, and they killed off Incas and Aztecs. When everything was said and done, Spain controlled Latin America, except for the east, which was Portuguese, and England and France of the northern stuff. Now Europe saw how well it went, so why not find some more? Africa and Oceania had people to kill and riches galore. This is where our journey ends. You'll learn the rest next year. Now, if you don't mind, I'll take my time and take a nap right over here.
All right, folks. It's time to take the eye leap and throw it away! Yeah!